former Santa Fe in Kingman Canyon, a BNSF Intermodal rolls west before the sun comes up over the mountains. We are on the BNSF Seligman subdivision just west of Kingman, Arizona. Even though the Santa Fe is long gone, we start the morning with a taste of the former Santa Fe in the form of a BNSF C44-9W wearing a Santa Fe-inspired BNSF scheme. This paint scheme predates BNSF's H1 scheme. Following close behind the first westbound, we would have another westbound intermodal. We are on the former Santa Fe Transcontinental route between Chicago, Illinois and Los Angeles, California. Kingman, Arizona stands just over 1,800 rail miles from Chicago on the old Santa Fe and just under 400 miles from Los Angeles. Kingman Canyon is only 2 minutes west of historic downtown Kingman along the old Route 66. We have come to the canyon at 6 a.m. before the sun rises and the temperatures enter the triple digits on this sweltering July morning. What was once home to the Santa Fe Super Chief and 40-foot boxcar trains has now become a route filled with mainly long intermodal trains and unit trains. This is on full display with our third and fourth trains of the morning, which was a meeting between westbound and eastbound intermodals. Tacked onto the back of the eastbound was a unit tank car train. With the sun finally creeping up over the mountains, we would catch a westbound empty intermodal running to Los Angeles. Following the empty well cars would be a westbound double unit grain train. This train had 2 GEs up front, a unit length grain train, and then 3 GEs in the middle with a second unit length grain train behind. With the sun fully up, we'd take to the skies to get a better view of Kingman Canyon. We would catch an eastbound intermodal in perfect light with our second taste of the Santa Fe in the form of another BNSF painted C44-9W in war bonnet paint. Kingman Canyon is publicly accessible through old service roads with plenty of space to pull off west of downtown Kingman. You can also see the canyon from historic Route 66, which runs just to the west of the rails in this area. Back to ground level, the intermodal parade would continue with a westbound running with 2 GEs up front and a train of intermodal containers. Following the intermodal, we would have our first manifest of the day. This train had a trio of GEs on the head end and 2 GEs pushing on the rear. As the sun comes up, the details of Kingman Canyon started to become more defined. The final train we caught in Kingman Canyon would be an eastbound intermodal. This train was filmed coming through a unique rock formation located just east of the bridge. After lunch, we would rejoin the old Santa Fe just east of Kingman. West of Kingman, where we started our morning, we were closer to the lower-lying Sonoran Desert. We are now in an area of transition looking towards the higher elevation Colorado Plateau. In this transitional area, we would catch a handful of intermodals running at track speed. We start with a westbound running with 3 GEs on the head end and 3 GEs mid-train. The next 2 trains would be more fast-flying intermodals. The first was an eastbound with a 5-pack of BNSF and Norfolk Southern Power. Second, we would have a westbound with 6 BNSF GEs on the point. Moving further east up Route 66, we are now near the unincorporated community of Valentine, Arizona. At this location, we would catch only our second manifest of the day running on the BNSF's Container Highway. Coming around the curve at Crozier, Arizona, we would have one of our better BNSF leaders of the day. An SD70 ACE leads an intermodal through Wright Canyon. We would take to the skies to get a better view of the canyon, train, and classic Route 66. In our exploration of Route 66, we would head east to Peach Springs. Here, we would catch back up to the intermodal with Norfolk Southern power that we had caught earlier in the day at Kingman. There were track workers getting ready to do maintenance near this area, so we would head back west to Valentine for our next train. At East Valentine, we caught a westbound intermodal running under now threatening skies. Our final location on this BNSF Odyssey would be at the Hackberry S-curve. Here, a sweeping curve to the west of us leads into another sweeping curve into Wright Canyon. Our first train at this location would be an intermodal running 4x2x1. The next two trains would be another pair of intermodals, the first running 1x1 and the second running 2x2. As our day wound down, we would catch a unit grain train running 3x3. Thankfully at this point, it was clear that the threatening clouds would amount to no storms on this day. Our final train of the day would be an eastbound intermodal running through with a 4-pack of BNSF GEs on the point. 10 hours on the old Santa Fe, we caught a total of 21 trains as we explored the classic route along Route 66. In a fitting end to our day, we look on with a view down Route 66 and the old Santa Fe, both pointing west towards their ultimate destinations of Los Angeles.